to catch up with everyone. I see so many new faces here today. For heaven's sake, I missed only the first few weeks of the season, but I already feel behind. You know Serena, she doesn't let the grass grow under her feet, Grace remarked. I was surprised to show up at our first meeting in the new year and find over 24 ladies in attendance. It helped that Edwina and I stayed in London throughout the summer and fall when much of the autant depart for the countryside, Serena said. Even with that seasonal exodus, by Christmas there were over 20 of us meeting weekly. Word about us continues to spread, and now that the season is in full swing... With a sweep of her arm, Serena gestured about the room. As you can see, we're filling up Edwina's drawing room. The more the merrier, Edwina said. If necessary, we can hold our meetings in the music room. That's where my family used to host large gatherings when I was young. This house belongs to your family? Charlotte asked. I assumed it had belonged to your late husband. No. My husband's younger brother lives in the home I shared with Beasley. We're on good terms, and I have a standing invitation to stay there any time I wish. However, I don't wish to be the importuning relation always underfoot. My parents no longer spend time in London, nor does my sister Constance, who wouldn't stay here in any case, as she and her husband have a large residence just off Berkeley Square. So, it works out for me to live here. It also works out quite well for us ladies of the Wednesday afternoon social club, Grace said. So much so that I forbid you to ever quit the group, Edwina. Because, seriously, where else would we be able to plot our schemes and misbehave? Serena smiled in acknowledgement of this truth. A widow, like Edwina, was the obvious choice to host their meetings because, despite the innocuous-sounding name they'd chosen to give themselves, much of society, and this would include all but the most enlightened of husbands, would frown upon a group like theirs. The Wednesday afternoon social club embraced the notion that females needn't be relegated to only the lesser roles in life, but were fully capable of being contributing members of society, even in a world structured to grant far more rights to men. Not to mention, the ladies in the club discussed these contributions while wearing trousers, if that was their preference, or partaking those traditionally male libations such as brandy or whiskey. To be sure, plenty of cups of tea were also consumed at the meetings, with a splash of strong spirits if the lady wished. The point of the group wasn't simply to copy the behaviour of men, but rather to give ladies, for an afternoon anyway, a choice as to how they wished to comport themselves, whether that took the form of what they wore, or what they consumed, or what they discussed. They had the freedom to choose. The Duchess continued. Rochester is quite broad-minded and doesn't seem to mind my penchant for wearing trousers in a discreet setting now and again. She gestured to the pair of trousers she currently wore, which showed off her tall, slender figure to great advantage. But I'm not sure even he would countenance similar behaviour in a large group of ladies meeting in his home. Nor do I think he'd approve of ladies drinking strong spirits, should that be their inclination. There are those of us so inclined, but still prohibited from it, Aunt Grace, Phoebe Talbot remarked. She sat in a chintz-covered armchair with her legs draped over one of the chair's arms, managing to look demure and shockingly unladylike at the same time. She fanned herself with a folded copy of the latest issue of The Advocate, a radical newspaper published by Edwina's beau, Jason Latimer. The Duchess turned to her niece with a wry smile. My darling Phoebe, you know that I'm risking your mother's censure just by bringing you to these meetings. We both know she'd consider them thoroughly unsuitable for a young lady. And while